Hello everyone, and welcome to batch 222 in the freeze dryer. This batch was chili. My husband made a huge, I think our roaster's 16 quarts. We have two. We have one big 16 quart roaster and then I think a 20 quart roaster, and he made the 16 quart roaster with chili, and we shared a little bit, and we were supposed to take some other places but didn't get a chance to. My sister was supposed to stop for some and she didn't, so my son ate some for a couple of days, and then my husband was chilied out. I could have kept going, but he was chilied out because we had chili for like 3 days. And usually that's not a problem, but I don't know what it was. So we actually took 10 pounds of it and then put 2.5 pounds on each tray. So then we had enough for a full batch of chili. And one reason that's important to me is I don't like to mix my batches. I have mixed batches before, and I notice crossover taste. Other people in some Facebook groups that I'm in related to the freeze dryer say that they don't notice any crossover taste. But after I'm done freeze drying, I have, and then you melt the ice. So then you take a bucket of water away. I can smell what I freeze dried in that water. The odor is in there. And when I do fish, the odor stays in the freeze dryer. So maybe it's just that I'm a little overly sensitive to that. I don't know. But like if I did a batch of chili along with this batch of garlic, Yeah, if I did a batch of garlic along with this load of chili, I would taste extra garlic in the chili. Not that that would matter, but then I would taste chili in that garlic. And then if I added fish to the mix, I would taste all of those mixed together. So I just prefer not to mix batches. Simple as that. All right. Now I might mix an apple batch with a banana batch because that would be an interesting crossover taste, but I just don't. So then this is what I do. I showed you this before, and my scale turned off. But right here, I'll tear out the paper plate, T-A-R-E, tear out the paper plate, and then I weigh this. So this is 2.5 pounds of chili there, and it weighs 234 grams. So knowing that that's 2.5 pounds, I'll divide that by 5, or I could just divide by 2.5. I don't know why I didn't do that. But if I divide by 5, then I know what it is, measures 1/2 pound. I multiply that by 2 if I want a pound in there. But if I only want a 1/2 pound of chili in a bag, then I would just go with whatever the divisor was when I divided by, the result was when I divided by 5. So 1 pound of chili is actually weighing 94 grams. That's a big difference, and I know I say this a lot, but that's one of the reasons I love freeze-dried food. And the other day I was working in my food storage, and I had freeze-dried blueberries and freeze-dried mangoes in a number 10 can. Well, the number 10 can, it has very little weight to it. They don't tell me what the pre-freeze-dried weight is, which is one aggravating thing when I buy freeze-dried food, especially when it's something like blueberries. They know how much they freeze-dried, and they know approximately what it was. Now, you can't have a science to this because everything has a different amount of moisture. So even though these trays were exactly 2.5 pounds each, the gram weight is different, but it's approximately the same. So 230, 246, and 234 grams. So they can tell you approximately, okay, you have 10 ounces of blueberries, and so pre-freeze dryer pre-freeze dried weight. Whoa, I'll get that right one once. They could say was, hey, this was approximately 5 pounds of blueberries. They could do that. They just choose not to, probably because they open themselves up to people complaining if they add water back to the item and, oh, well, I didn't have 5 pounds. I had 3 pounds. Well, freeze drying is not totally accurate with weights, but it would sure be nice to know what the approximate weight is. But anyway, so I have freeze dried number 10 cans of food, and I had blueberries and mangoes, and then I picked up my bananas, Augustin Farm number 10 bananas. The can was so heavy, it weighed a pound and a quarter for the can. And so I looked at it and I'm like, they don't say freeze dried on them like everything else does. So the Augustin Farm bananas that I bought, I assumed were freeze dried, but they were dehydrated. So I would have preferred freeze dried because it saves more nutrients. Dehydrated is better than nothing. They're tasty. People around here like them. But that probably would have driven up the cost as well. But they were heavy. So when I put 10 of those in a tote, it was a lot heavier to move than the freeze-dried ones. So obviously, it took a little bit of effort and some extra help. Yeah, I know it was only 10 pounds or 6 pounds or whatever it was, but it was a large container, and my shoulder, depending on what angle I hold it in, is not cooperative. Okay, sorry, I digress. This load of chili actually ran for, I'm back at it. It ran for 134.5 hours, 68.5 hours was added time. That's because my husband's on vacation, and oh, who am I kidding? I'm just back to my old habits of just adding time. No, really, I was working in our food storage for like 7 hours the other day, and I've got my trees going on, and then, yeah. So anyway, that meant it would have taken 66 hours. However, about 15 hours of that was hold time when I went on a supply run, not to the grocery store, and it stopped, and I didn't check it until the next day because I totally forgot about Fred, but he's okay. He doesn't mind my ignoring him for a while. So this should have only taken about 51 hours, and then here you go. This is how I'm packing them up. This is 1 pound of chili. I wasn't sure if I was going to put cups or pounds on there. I couldn't actually remember whether this was 3 or 4 cups per tray, so I decided to look back on my other chili to see what I put on there, and it was 3.5. So I'm just not putting a pound weight on there because I remember scooping it out by the cup and thinking, oh, that's perfect. That's what I'll put on my bags, but I didn't. I don't remember if it was 3 or 4. My mind is absolutely going these days. And I actually haven't done chili since February of 2019. So it's been over a year since I did a batch of chili in the freeze dryer. And then again, that was my husband's chili. And then prior to that, I really don't know when the last time was that I did my chili. But there we go. Well, I'm giving you a little, this is my book. It's a little messy, but I know every load that I've done in the freeze dryer. And I really never thought I'd have a use for this book, and I almost got rid of it. I got it because it was purple and I liked it. It was one of those things, and I'm really glad I did. Now the problem will be trying to find another one, but I have probably a couple years more worth of pages here, especially if I can learn to write a little bit smaller and condense everything into a couple of lines. Sometimes it takes extra lines because I put notes in there. Of things I did. Normally those go over here. Sometimes I take up 8 lines there. But that's it. That's how I do my freeze dryer notebook. And this is what I'm doing today. Now, this is only going to be 10 bags of Mylar. So right there's what 20 packs in there, and you know that. So I'm going to have to find 10 other bags of things to freeze dry, which really shouldn't be a problem because I have some pasta, macaroni, spaghetti, and noodles and things that I can just do. And I save things like that for when I'm freeze drying, and I'm not going to have 20 bags because I have a problem resealing these. Even when I reseal them, I've had them go bad, and I probably should pull out my handheld brake bleeder and try keeping them in a mason jar like other people have suggested and see how that works. But then again, if I commit at least to using 20 at a time, then that stops me from delaying bagging up other things, and it just gives me a tiny little goal for each time, and it helps out. So that's it. That's what I freeze dried today. I call it low bean chili because my husband puts in less beans and more meat. And this one had sausage and beef in it. And then, yeah, that's it. Let me know in the comments what did you prep today, and if you're still able to prep at all during the stay-at-home orders, if you have those as well. And our stay-at-home orders aren't really too bad. Basically, they're keeping us out of the store, and that's a good thing. And I just ran out of cream for my coffee this morning. However, I be able to use this Fairlife milk, although I normally just buy this for my grandson. And if I know anybody going to the store, I'll have them pick me up some creamer. My daughter also needs produce, so an Aldi run would be great. I'm not there yet that I'm ready to go back out to the store, but we had bought this Fairlife milk. I like this because it's ultra pasteurized, and I give this to my grandson. However, one of the reasons that I love this is that it has a longer expiration date, and I'm assuming that's because it's the ultra pasteurized. So this one is good until May, and I have never had one of these go back. This is April. It's good until May 24th, and this was purchased early March. So March, April, May. The Fairlife milk is usually good for 2 months. It is more expensive, but I like it for him, and it has this DHA and omega. They also have chocolate milk, and no, I don't work for the company. Another thing is they do have the little rubber gasket in the top of the lid here. So if you use this milk, I probably have 30 or 40 of these containers. I wash them out, and they're great for storing rice. And that's what I did prior to buckets and Mylar with my rice. So I will probably eventually go through my go through my containers of rice and Mylar them up, but I'm not sure. I do already have a local woman who wants all the containers. She's a prepper as well. I don't know. I don't think she has a freeze dryer, but anyway, she already said that, yes, she would take those. And look, I did it again, guys. Okay. Be safe. Stay home. Be well. Be blessed.